So, I didn't read anything actually, sorry. I was talking too much. Anyway, in this case actually, as I mentioned, we focus on the information system because when I started to work on this idea of aesthetic journalism, which is actually this stuff here, which is a very small book. It took me 5 years to write. I'm a very slow writer. I'm very slow in general. Anyway, you can see from the reader. Anyway, I became aware that what's the important point actually when we talk about the news media, for instance, in journalism, is not really what it represents. It's what it transforms. What it takes from one context and it brings to another context. And that's this idea of transformation, this idea of translation in cultural terms. It's really, really important. And it works if you are a visual artist, but also if you are a musician, if you are an architect, or if you are a graphic designer. How to translate, basically, the information you gather around an issue, around, it could be a problem, it could be an invention, it could be something that you really want to do. How to translate the bits of information into another context, into another form, in order to digest it and make it digestible for other people. That's the important thing, and that's what the information system does actually all the time. So in this process actually, in these 5 years, I became more and more aware about these things. So, and it was a process of dismantling my knowledge about information system, about journalism, about art, and reconstructing them in other ways. So there is something that, I don't know if I have to say this one because we're in an institutional, kind of an academic context, or in an educational context, but I think also there is an important notion, which is the unlearning. And unlearning is not the opposite of learning. It's actually a process of absorbing what you learn, but also making room to absorb something else that you haven't learned. Because there is always a part of the picture which stays out of the frame. And maybe that's the part that's more interesting for you as well. So it's learning by unlearning, by making room to learn something else, by making space to learn something that you don't know. And that's an important part of an artist's work, I would say, and a curated work as well. I'm including myself into this one, of course. For instance, I got asked a lot of time, what is big fuss about art and journalism, by bringing them together, by making them talking to each other, by making them interacting with each other. And they stated clearly actually, it's not that an artist is substituting the work of a journalist. It cannot do it. It doesn't have the same resources, it doesn't have the same audience, the same possibilities, but it's a complementary fact. Art, in this case, can help to understand better journalism, as art can help to understand better the law system, or the medical regime, or whatever, well, politics is granted. But anyway, there are this other system in society that art can actually contribute to understand better in a critical way, can open up a space for discussion. And one thing that I would invite you as creative people is not to underestimate the time you have. Time is something that is a true scarce resource in all the other systems. I think art in general, not only visual art, but art in general, is one of the few areas, the few realms in which there's still time to do things. And it's quite an incredible thing, and I had first-hand experience about it, because when I work with the television production facilities, or when I go to the newspaper editor, I just realize how no time they have. They have to produce things, they have to go on, not even with months, but not even with days, but with hours. So they have to deliver a piece in 2 hours' time, they have to shoot as soon as they can, edit as soon as they can, and go live as soon as they can. It's something that, as artists, we take it for granted. There are time. There is time to do things. It's a precious thing that you have as an artist. You have chosen, or you will choose, an area in which you actually can make the difference. And there's not many people actually in this society that can have this time. So use it. Don't waste it. Use it in a productive way. That's why I invited you to connect with other systems, because this other system is more likely they don't have the time you have. And that's where you can become precious for them. You can become a precious resource, because you can bring in something that they don't have. And with that, you can bring in a certain aesthetics that maybe is complementary to their aesthetics. And it's not, of course, that an artist is better to tell a story than a journalist or than a doctor. It's not that point. The point is that you bring in a sort of aesthetic, a sort of approach that it reveals that there is a tradition in all the other systems. There is a tradition of aesthetics in journalism, there is a tradition in law, there is an established tradition how to present things in medicine, for instance, or scientific research. So when you bring in this other approach, this other aesthetics, this other time, then the first one is revealed as such. Then it's okay, there is other ways maybe we can look at things and talk things about. Okay, I think at this point I would better show you a couple of examples. Hopefully the computer is not too tired. It's very two short video. One is 2 minutes and the other 2 minutes and a half. The other one is 5 minutes. It's from 2 artists, very different from each other. Both are filmmakers, but they work in a very, very different way. And I brought these 2 examples because they're 2 very good examples of how your artistic practice can be understood as a research.